Jill on the mic. It's about to get real. Keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by all of my co-hosts, Cody, Nick, and Jill. Jill, how are you doing this spring Saturday morning?
I know, it's like 60-some degrees here. It's beautiful. We are just living our best life. Nick, how are you doing today?
I woke up to frost yesterday. It was a very confusing start to spring, but it ended up being all right. Warmed up to about the 50s. We're loving the warmer weather. Please stick around. I'm looking forward to the fact that the draft is about a little less than a month away, about a month away at this point in time. So clock's ticking. It's a great time of year. Moves are happening. Cody, how are things going with you in the Tennessee area?
Oh, doing fantastic. Also woke up with frost yesterday. That was interesting. But I'm excited for another mock draft. The draft is about a month away. I got the okay from my boss to miss work for it or to work away out of town for it. I don't have to use vacation or anything. So that's awesome. Excited for that. But I'm mostly excited today for James's mock draft. James, how are you today?
I'm very excited to tell you all about my number one draft pick today and the entire class, of course. But it's an exciting time of year. We got a lot to go over today. And you know what? I want to make sure I bring the right energy today. So, per recommendation of our friend Jill here, this will be my first crack at one of these lime-flavored Alani's right here on the show. So I'm excited about this.
It's so good. I've got the squirrel today.
Oh, yeah.
Told you.
Yeah, you're right on that one.
Live reaction,
Alani.
first time.
Alani, if you want to sponsor us, we're not opposed.
Not
Not at all.
reaction to the goodness.
Not at all. You got to put up with our ridiculous behavior at times, but I think we're a good match at least. Who else is a good match for Pittsburgh but Ryan McCall, right? He's been with the team for years now as our number one backup center. He's returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers on a one-year deal, another vet minimum deal, which I feel like is appropriate. But when asked to be on the field, I thought that he represented himself well the last few years and honestly increasingly better.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say there was a time that he was asked to be the starting center, and they actually had a really good running game that game. So I'm pretty happy about McCollum being back. How do you guys feel about the return of Ryan McCollum?
Very good.
On board.
Yeah.
Very happy.
It's one of those things that's just, hey, this is a guy that was a good not rotational piece, depth piece. When we needed him, he played well.
Yeah.
He wasn't a weak link. That's great.
Yeah, that's it. In the end, you need your backups to be people you can rely on.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what I feel like he is. You don't see him coming off the bench and think, oh, crap, now what? So that's an extremely important thing to not have that feeling when your backups come on the line, especially on the offensive line. But one that's been rumored for a while now, Brock Hoffman. We heard wind of this on the first couple of days of free agency. It never ended up happening. Now he's officially signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A guy with center and guard experience previously with the Dallas Cowboys, previously under Mike McCarthy. How weird. And now it seems like we have legitimate competition for Spencer Anderson for that left guard position until something else happens, whether it be the draft. I don't think there's any big name free agents left as far as interior offensive linemen. So that's probably the big move that we were waiting for on the offensive line. So how do you guys feel about Brock Hoffman being the big signing?
Really good, honestly. The depth was necessary, and to get a guy that McCarthy's familiar with and seems to be positive about is great, especially when you figure a lot of the top left guard prospects are a little bit high of capital in the draft, and you might not be able to get them where you want to get them, and so it would either be a reach or they're just not there. And so with that being the case, you could always try to flex somebody who's been playing on the right side, but we've seen how that has not always translated the best for Pittsburgh in the past. So getting a guy who can truly play the left side of the line, really good idea, especially when you've got all these O-line coaches and McCarthy's familiar with them.
He can technically play all three. I think he played right guard, center, and left guard. So
That's correct.
he can stick on the field any time of the game to provide that depth piece. So I thought it was a great move.
Like it, love it. Competition for camp.
Yeah. Do we know the finances yet or no?
I haven't seen it yet, no. So I would expect it not to be crazy. I want to say the initial report was that it was going to be a $2.5 million or something like that. So I mean, if it is, I'm perfectly fine with it. You're bringing the guy in to compete for the job. So if he gets more than vet minimum, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah, I got nothing on salary right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Chase Claypool, tell me about this. I saw some brief stuff, but I think you guys might know a little more about this Chase Claypool thing than I do.
I just want speculation, because why is he posting this video of all of his Steeler highlights? Do we think he's trying to make a comeback to the NFL? I mean, all the comments are going crazy of like, he's coming back to the Steelers. And I'm like, I just don't think that's true. But guys do whatever they want just to get hype going. So what are your thoughts, people?
I mean, to just, I'm gonna just show it. I mean, this is his page. It says been gone for a minute, but I'm back soon.
Yes.
And he posted this. And Juju commenting saying, "Let's get it." Steel City recap. I mean, welcome home, Maple Trust. I mean, he's not here. He's not signed, unless I'm mistaken. I mean, he's hard to miss at the Pittsburgh airport or in the city. And I haven't seen the picture of the guy that looks like Larry Fitzgerald when everyone was saying Larry's coming. So I don't know. I think this might be him hyping himself up. There was such a strong fall off with him. And I don't know why you'd bring him back, unless it's just at a vet minimum for a body in camp, and he comes in and says the right things. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything else other than him indicating it, so I'm not reading into it too much right now.
I'm in the same spot. I don't anticipate a guy who hasn't been in the league since 2023 and played professional football. Well, maybe he has, but I think it was maybe for the CFL. Who knows? But Claypool, having not been able to really make it with the Buffalo Bills, who are needy at receiver, with one of his final stints in the league, just really doesn't scream, let's bring that guy back, especially after Omar Khan even admitted that our receivers were not up to snuff last year towards the end of the year. So I'd much rather see investment in the draft to go get more guys rather than bringing back Claypool or Smith-Schuster at this point, because I've seen some rumors about maybe signing Juju to a vet minimum to be a wide receiver 3, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I also just would rather see fresh faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see either one of them being a fit right now, to be real. It's big-bodied dudes that aren't known for quickness or extreme route running.
Right.
I mean, Juju I loved as a Steeler. I have a Juju jersey hanging down here in the basement with me, but realistically, his prime's behind him. His best was as a number 2. He's a great hands guy. But what we're looking for that number 3 wide receiver needs to be somebody with extreme quickness, short area quicks, great route running skills, and consistent hands. We have the 2 huge wide receivers on the edges, so we don't need another big dude who isn't good at creating quick separation and can't get open quickly, because that's the guy that's missing out of this group right now.
And just to clarify, James is not saying we want Antonio Brown back. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah, I'm nutty enough. We don't need that guy around too. We'll pass on that. But yeah, that's, to me, like, that's the piece that's missing right now in the wide receiver group. You hope that Roman Wilson can be that. That was the goal, that was Roman Wilson could be that. We wanted that to work out for Calvin Austin III. It didn't work out. So I think you're attempting to fill that role once again, but now with different people making the decisions on who they're selecting. So that has to make you feel a little bit better about it, because although we were able to identify these guys that did so well early in their careers, and they're both an example of it. Early on in his career, Chase Claypool, what was it, like a dozen touchdowns his rookie season? Was in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Juju had a couple of 97-yard touchdown plays and a kick return for a touchdown, and was an awesome number 2 to AB. But they fell off, and we need somebody that's not going to fall off like that.
Right.
So What do we got on these pre-draft visitors? This is usually a good indication of extreme interest by the team. You don't bring one in, you go see almost everyone, right? You go to the pro days, you send the scouts, you send the head coach and other people. And by the way, if you send the head coach and the GM, that's a strong indication that you really like what's going on there. So Georgia, pay attention to Georgia, folks.
Yeah.
They sent the house to Georgia. But what do we have on these pre-draft visitors? It's a long list, I know, but
Yeah, and it's growing, and it's growing. So the local visits were tight end Khalil Dinkins from Penn State and linebacker Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh. Kyle Lewis, one of the mock draft guys from Nick's draft, so that's good for that. Non-local visits: Carson Beck in Miami, Cole Payton, North Dakota State. Let's go. Wide receiver Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati. Wide receiver and kick return Kedrick Law from Kentucky. An upcoming one is going to be wide receiver Denzel Boston out of Washington. That one hasn't happened yet, but it's listed. Wide receiver Jeremy Bernard from Alabama also hasn't happened yet, but that's listed. Offensive tackle Markel Bell from Miami. Offensive guard Kalen Rutledge from Georgia Tech. Defensive lineman James Thompson Jr. from Illinois. Linebacker Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Cornerback Ephesians Prysock from Washington. Cornerback Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Cornerback Takario Davis from Washington. So a lot of Washington popping up in there. And then they actually had one pro day dinner already with Zachariah Branch from Georgia. So speaking of Georgia, speaking of Jill's mock draft.
That's my favorite receiver right now. So
and that's the guy. That's the guy that James was just describing. So
right.
It fits the bill, it fits the bill. That's what I think we ought to be looking for. That doesn't mean that they're not interested in these big guys. Some big guys are really good at route running and getting in and out of their breaks. I remember, what was it, AJ Green for the Bengals? He was incredible as a route runner, and he was 6'4". These guys do exist, but typically it's more in that package of a guy that's 5'10" to like 6'1", 6'2". You get over that, they get a little more gangly. They're not as quick on their feet most of the time. So who jumps out for you guys on this? I like the interest in Jacob Rodriguez is there. He's a really, really talented middle linebacker that seems like taking him in the first round is too early. If you wait till the second round, he's probably not going to be there. So it does make me wonder how they feel that's going to work as far as the possibility of acquiring him. But he might be linebacker number one if you were to grab a guy like him.
I mean, Pittsburgh has the draft capital in this year's draft to move up to a high second pick or something. So that's that trading up in between where our first round pick is and where our second round pick is the area that I've never seen Pittsburgh do and really intrigues me. But that would be a guy they'd have to do that for if they didn't want to take him in the first, but wanted to try to get him before another team did. I'm obviously interested in the Cole Payton from North Dakota State because I mocked him, but also very, very interested in the Kendrick Law visit as well.
Mm-hmm. I like the guard Rutledge.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like that. He was one that I had mocked a couple of times, and so seeing his name on the list, I was like, all right, good. We need some solidness at that on the line. So, and he's really great. Like he has such great force with his hands, so I feel like he'd fit in with the physicality of the trenches.
Yeah, a lot of the corners are exciting to me because a lot of them are speedy guys, have a lot of quickness to them. With that being said, I think they're also just a little bit later round corner prospects, which doesn't make me excited because I want us to address corner early in this draft. So I'm hoping that we address that a little bit earlier. I'm glad that they're looking around at corners to see if maybe they can find a guy in later rounds who could be that diamond in the rough, but I would much rather them get a guy that's got a high floor and also a high ceiling than go for a guy who's just got a high ceiling and might not end up working out. In terms of Jake Rodriguez, love the guy, love the player. His measurables were a little bit on the smaller side, so maybe they're hoping that teams will be wary of that and that he might sort of fall to them a bit further with the arms being 30, just under 31 inches, hands being just over 9 inches. He's also 231 pounds, which isn't terrible for a linebacker. But just didn't measure with height,
Yeah.
arms, hands. Not everything was upper echelon of measurables. So he kind of falls a little bit under the typical size profile, which might hopefully let him slide a little bit.
Yeah, and his size profiles is something jumped out at me. One of the Georgia guys here. I know he wasn't on the pre-draft visit list, but anybody from Georgia right now is somebody that we should have a full attention on based off of both Mike McCarthy and Omar Khan going to that pro day. Micah Morris, the guard there, huge guy. He was like 350 pounds. I want to say he was over 6'4". His arm length was 33 plus, which is incredible for a guard prospect. And he was quick too. His 40-yard dash was less than a 5.1, which for a guy that's that massive is really, really moving. 29 reps on the bench shows really good strength too. That's a tank. You get a guy like that on the inside, you are installing a people mover at a guard position where you really need that. That has been a struggle for Pittsburgh in short yardage situations, is trying to move the defense in order to get that 1 yard or two. We had a ton of success last year with the Spartan formation. Will they even do that this year? Who knows? You know, Connor Hayward's gone. That was your Spartan guy. So are you going to put a different quarterback out there? You're not going to run it with Rodgers, that's for sure. So the question is more so, are you going to use it? And if so, who's the personnel when you use it?
Yeah. I think the fun thing that James and I have talked to in the past when we talked about these visits is sometimes you also got to think outside the box of, okay, they went to the pro day in Bama, they talked to the wide receiver. Who else were they there looking at but not actually talking to?
And there's still a number of pro days left. I was looking over the data for that last night and who was up and coming. And there's some big schools still left too. I believe Alabama was among some of them left. I think maybe Texas A&M, if I'm remembering correctly. So there's some big name schools that are still left yet to have their pro days, and some of them go even into April before the draft starts. So there will be more of this to go over as time goes along, and we might even be able to see where McCarthy and Khan go next to be able to say, hey, this is another school you might want to focus on if you're mocking the Steelers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that leads you to how many places are they actually going? You know, we saw Mike Tomlin very active on the trail. He usually hit at least 5 or 6 schools. We're getting pretty far into the process here, and we have one school so far that Mike McCarthy's gone to. Same with Omar Khan, and they went together. So I'm interested to see if Pittsburgh does a little bit more so with their coaching staff at these pro days, because what we're seeing this year is it looks like it's a responsibility being put on the scouting staff, which, hey, that's why you have the scouting staff. But you would think that you would want the position coaches or coordinators or head coach or somebody to get an eye on these guys at least one time in person before you consider drafting them next month. Because we're only a month away at this point, folks.
That's crazy.
And this could be that new regime that does, like Mike Tomlin was a recruiter. That's what he was great at. And maybe this is something Mike McCarthy just doesn't see as important, or that he has as much benefit of going to see. So that's an interesting a view on it. And maybe I'm sure he'll at least get to one more, if not 2.
And to your point, James, about sending position coaches, I believe the quarterback that Cody had mocked to the Steelers at his pro day, the quarterback's coach was one of the guys who was sent.
Yeah.
So definitely something to look at there in terms of what the Steelers might be doing, and Cody potentially maybe having some foresight there on that. And speaking of sending your house, you should definitely, when you need to find somewhere to eat, send your house to the Edinburgh Hotel Bar.
The whole house. Don't leave anything at home. Pack up the lamps. Everything.
The whole thing. Yep.
Support of Steelers by the Lake podcast include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, serving a variety of lunch and dinner items every day from their location at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh. Information is available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com. The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had me at hotel.
I do love the Edinburgh Hotel. I miss the Edinburgh Hotel. I'm sad that I won't be there for the draft or probably most any games this year, but we'll see if I can't come visit for a game or two and see what's going on. But everyone, buckle up, take your notepad out, pop your drinks like Jill's doing. It is time for the man, the myth, the legend, James Strong's first mock draft.
It's time, folks. It's time. I know you've been waiting for it. My number one pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the first time. I went safety, Dylan Thieneman as our number one pick. If you've been following the pre-draft process, this is the athletic freak out of Oregon, extremely rangy, a very good cover guy, had a lot of interceptions and turnovers in Oregon, can line up inside the box as well, was almost used as a pseudo linebacker. His listed weight at the combine was 6 foot and 1/8, so a hair over 6 foot tall, 201 pounds. Honestly, he looks a lot bigger than that. My guess is he kind of trimmed down a little bit to run a fast 40. And then it's always, what's the real playing weight? How fast is he really? Well, at 201 pounds, he ran a 4.35 40. That is lightning fast. We haven't had a safety that fast on the Pittsburgh Steelers since Troy Polamalu. Troy was a low 4.3s guy. So this is elite athleticism, incredible ball skills. He's a heat-seeking missile. So when you're talking about a game changer on defense, who's going to be the guy that people talk about? Who's the best defender on Pittsburgh after this generation that's currently running the team moves on? We've got Cam Hayward 2 more years, assuming he works the last 2 years of this contract. TJ Watt, not as good of a year last year as he's been, but was the premier defender on the team. I think that if you take a guy like this, you're immediately talking about someone who will be in that conversation of possible best defender on the team by year 2. Where does he fit in right away? I don't care. I don't care. I don't think that you can justify marching Jalen Ramsey and Deshaun Elliott out there every single play if you've got a guy this skilled on your roster. So I'm not worried about it. And in the safety room right now, every guy under contract except for Sebastian Castro, who they weren't even confident enough to put on the field, has 1 year left on their deal. Mm-hmm. So you have to get some young guys and some people who can possibly be game changers and future leaders into that secondary. And this safety class at the top is just loaded. Now, there's good dudes all throughout it. I think you can land a starting safety through the first 3 rounds pretty easily in this draft, and I think Pittsburgh would be crazy not to do so. But I think there's an elite 3 at the top, and Dylan Thieneman is one of those 3, in my opinion. And if you can land them in round 1, I think you sprint to the podium.
Sprint to the podium.
Yeah. That's a safety room that I would love to call our own. This is a guy that I haven't seen a lot of other than seeing, obviously his 40 stood out. But seeing him fly down to the ball and get to ball carriers that doesn't look like he should be able to get to him. And the ball knowledge, the IQ of how to play a safety position is very exciting because I feel like we haven't had 2 good safeties in quite some time. At least consistently. We've had him up and down with injuries, but man, to have another safety come in the room and be a game changer would be really, really fun.
Well, and his athleticism allows him to play both. Like he can play strong and free. So that versatility is, especially as round 1, like that's just incredible. He's got insane football IQ. I feel like he is able to read routes well, and so he can stop the route before it's completed. Like he's a menace.
You'd have to figure that it would at least be a rotational piece if they're going to be making a round 1 investment. And with the injury histories of just Sean Elliott and Jaquan Brisker and other guys on this team, he's at the very least a very capable backup. If they're not going to use him rotationally, which they would be insane not to do, you can have the guy that's sitting behind them and learning and then is able to step in when you need him and when he's ready. So love the pick. I hope if he falls to us that we at least give him the passing glance depending on who else is there, because this would be a difference maker in the secondary.
Yeah.
So that's my first round, guy. Moving on to the second round, it's been no hidden thing around here. We've talked a lot about guards. We have talked a lot about losing Isaac Seumalo, who's going to run that, who's going to be our new starter. I've made it very clear how much I love Vega Ione out of Penn State and how much I would love to get him in the first round, but I didn't want to be boring and go the same way as Nick. So that's why I went the safety route. But I can't pass up on great talent in the second round when I think that this guy could be the next guard to take over in the interior. So in round 2 for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the guard position, I'm taking Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. The mauler with a mullet is what I like to call this guy. Just an absolute menace on the field. What might be most impressive about this guy is his footwork. His footwork is incredible. He is so quick with his feet, with his ability to slide and pass protection. His one-on-one drills at the Senior Bowl were incredible. Nobody beat him in practice. And this is a guy that weighed in at 6'5", 319, your typical tackle size, but with 33.5-inch arms. That's fantastic length for a guard, but kind of questionable if you're trying to play him at tackle. So the easy idea is just to play him at guard. He has played some guard at college. He was primarily a tackle his senior year for Iowa. But he's just that dude that immediately is going to set the tone. You see him on that run play if you're watching on YouTube right there. He finishes his guy, seals him, and then jumps on him. And that's what you're looking for is don't just win your block, but annihilate your man if you're an offensive lineman. That's what you need is a guy who has, and we've been talking about this for years now, resetting the tone on the offensive line of guys that have the nasty. I want a guy that has that killer instinct of not only am I going to win my block, but I'm going to bury him and put him on his back, and then I'm going to land on him afterwards because I want to take his will. I don't want him to think that he has any chance against me in any reps the rest of the day, and I want him to just, by the fourth quarter, be faking an injury so somebody else comes out here because he just doesn't want to go against me anymore. And that's the kind of guy that Jennings Dunker is just that killer mentality from a guard. And I think if you slap him at the left, you've got a hell of a duo with him and Mason McCormick out there hey, we already know the kid looks great in black and gold, right? So why fight it? Let's bring him in and get that final missing piece on the offensive line.
The interesting part that I have about this is a guy that blocked for Caleb Johnson. Just saying.
Yeah. And went against YA Black in practice.
Yep. Talk about a team have some familiarity with him. That would be it.
Yeah, if you want to know how tough somebody is, put him against YA Black in practice every day and tell him they've got to try and put him on his butt. Tell me that didn't have something to do with why this guy's so nasty in games. Anybody else have anything on Jennings before I move on to my third round pick? First of 3.
Did you go over any of his? I'm sorry. Did you go over his 40-yard dash or anything?
40-yard was what, like a 5.19 or something?
5.18. So
yeah,
quick.
5.18,
I mean,
yeah,
fairly quick at his size too.
Yeah, and he's a well put together dude. One of the first things that struck me when I first saw him in these one-on-one drills is how thick he was in his legs and in his upper torso. His arms are huge. His legs are huge. Reminded me of the build of Zach Frazier. Zach Frazier doesn't look like a sloppy dude at all because he isn't. He has massive, strong legs and massive, strong arms, and he just looks like the kind of dude that if you saw him in an alley, you'd turn around and go the other way. And I want that in my offensive lineman. So I just love the build and the mentality, the footwork, everything about it with this dude.
Yeah, he's got great leverage. So I like the pick, James. I like the pick.
No complaints from me.
To the third round, the first guy, there's another group here that I feel like the talent at the top end of the class is incredible. And if you can get one of these top dudes, then you could have a difference maker on your defense. So I'm going back to the defensive side. We've already addressed safety. And the final one of that top tier for me is Jake Golding, a middle linebacker who is very reminiscent of Peyton Wilson. Mm-hmm. He's that 6'4", 239-pound dude. At the combine, he ran a 4.62. But I'm just saying that because there's a report that comes out every year of Bruce Feldman's freak list. And he puts all this out there of recorded times of people. He was clocked at a 4.4 in college. Dang. So he's not a 4.6 guy. My guess is he probably tried to get his weight up a little bit and didn't run as fast as he would normally, or maybe he didn't have the right cleats or didn't get a good jump. Who knows? But The speed is intense. The size is enormous for a middle linebacker. And if you pair him up with Peyton Wilson in the future, I'm just kind of assuming they move on from Patrick Queen after this upcoming season. Now you have 2 6'4" middle linebackers with extreme range and ability to go shoot the gap and go get their guy. I love his ability to duck under a block there and just go make the play. So you want guys willing to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and I feel like too often our middle linebackers, basically since Ryan Shazier's career ended, have been waiting for the play to come to them and not going to the other side of the ball. This is a guy who's got the instincts to go to the other side of the ball, but the extreme athleticism to be useful in coverage as well. So to me, it was an easy selection when he was still available there in the 3rd round, and somebody that I would love to pair up with Peyton Wilson.
Yes. Well, and I like the fact that he has the strength to tackle. I feel like that's something we miss with our inside linebackers is they might be quick or they're good at tackling, but it's not both. And so watching him where I'm like, oh, I see you're quick and you're willing to like finish the tackle and do it well. So that's strength and speed. I like that.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me here is too many times we've had to make adjustments on defense based on a run or pass situation, and teams have taken advantage of it all the way back to Vince Williams. I mean, Vince Williams was a phenomenal run stuffer, but man, a liability every tight end, every slot receiver. I mean, anybody over the middle or going through his section had to step up because he couldn't keep up to save his life. This is a guy that comes in and changes that mentality of offensive teams going against us, that you can't just change what you're doing based on the personnel. Like, you have to be just as prepared for the run and pass with this guy, and apparently blitzing as well. I mean, he's coming off the edge, so this is a guy that could do just about everything. So I'm very excited for the potential with this pick.
I like the athletic profile for sure. The one thing that concerns me is that some of the draft analysis of him mentions that he's not the best in coverage, so great at diagnosing the run and shedding blocks and things like that, but his coverage skills are a little lacking. But you kind of have the opposite of that in Peyton Wilson, where he's a stronger coverage guy, not necessarily that he's weak in run support, but that Peyton Wilson has that coverage IQ. So maybe that could be something that they could work together on to be able to be like, hey, maybe if you make this change or move this way or make this different choice when you're on the field, it can lead to better play in that element of your game that you're presently lacking in a little bit. So they would be a really cool complementary duo to see out on the field.
It'd be probably the tallest duo of middle linebackers in the NFL. So, we've got a wide receiver, we've got and why not do it back there as well, So
big boys.
Yeah. And that's it. We talked about it. It's the AFC North. It's big boy football. You got to have big dudes out there. And I just like having big obstacles sometimes too. A 6'4" middle linebacker, you got to account for a little bit more than you do one that's 5'11" or 6 foot, or even a 6'1" guy. That's a normal size nowadays, is a guy that's 6 foot or 6'1" at middle linebacker. But 6'4", you got to think twice when you're throwing over the middle if he's roaming around in there. So I love that idea. Another thing that we've talked about a lot on this show, I'm going to move on to pick number 85, my second one in the 3rd round here, is that who is the true nose tackle on this team? We've been playing Keanu Benton at nose tackle for years now. He has good games. He has games where he gets moved off the ball. We've seen Y.A. Black take a few snaps there, and his size is awesome, but his height works against him sometimes. Sometimes guys get under his pads because he's so doggone tall, and they move him back as well. What about somebody who's just built like a fire hydrant, right? What about a guy that's what Casey Hampton was on year 3 or 4, his rookie season? I think let's go and get a guy with one of the best nicknames in the entire draft class in Big Citrus. Dominic Orange, available here to me with my second pick in the 3rd round. At 6'2", 322 pounds, he's got some built-in leverage. 33 3/8 inch long arms is impressive for an interior defensive lineman that's not really all that tall. I don't need him to go after the quarterback. What I need I love the picture that you've got here, and we'll talk about why I love that later on, Cody.
I know why you love it, and I know why I chose it.
Even though it's a different guy, I love the choice here. But Dominic Orange is just the guy that you plug in there on rundown situations. You're going to end up starting him right out of the gate. The second that Cam Hayward retires, he moves into nose tackle. You slide Keanu Benton out to his home, and then you just play Y.A. Black wherever. The second somebody needs a breather, Y.A. goes into that position. I think that you've really got some good depth at the defensive line right now. Jesus, he can drop in coverage too. I haven't seen that one before. But yeah, the way he just doesn't get moved as a run defender, or awesome swim move there to get a little penetration after the quarterback. And he can do a little bit of getting after the quarterback, not just collapsing the interior of the pocket, but using some swim moves and rip moves. So he immediately helps out the interior defensive line and gives you a little bit of juice as a pass rusher too. So I'm all in on a nose tackle like Dominic Orange.
I love that in some of these highlights we're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, it's actually him going up against Iowa, and you see Dunker make his block, but the right tackle is missing this guy every single time.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun to watch. And this guy, like you said, can play coverage, goes out and covers a screen. The ability to kind of do anything is there. The only thing I haven't seen him do in these clips so far is knock down passes, which I'm sure he can do. And that's something that we're always looking for from those big guys. And I miss having a Casey Hampton kind of guy on the line. I miss seeing the big guy that I know, oh man, if he gets a good hit, it's going to rile up the guys around him. Because that's what it does. When you're a big guy and you make a play, everyone around you gets pumped up.
And if you want to free up those rangy middle linebackers, those speed guys, put somebody in the middle that takes up two blockers and keeps them free. So that's exactly what that does with a guy like this.
Yeah, he's got insane strength, upper and lower body, and just a menace when it comes to destroying a run game and shutting the run game down. So we love how he's able to collapse the line, collapse that coverage there. I would kind of like what Cody said, with those long arms, hopefully, I mean, we have that turnover culture. That's what we teach. And so putting him in there and like get your hand up to bat down a pass, I think would be awesome.
One of my favorite new features that the simulator we've been using for our mock drafts has added is putting in the traits of the player. They'll do like for D tackles, since that's what we're highlighting right now. They'll do like power, explosiveness, play strength, all these different types of things, and they'll highlight, are they at an elite level, or are they at an average level, or are they at a blue chip level? And his play strength is listed at a blue chip player level, which is the upper echelon of the guys. And they label him as an immovable object at the line. So if we can get that in the third round, if we can get Big Citrus out here, I will gladly celebrate that pick, as we are most likely going to be going live for these picks for the NFL draft. So keep an eye out for that. You will probably see James and myself celebrating. I might even chug a glass of orange juice if we draft Big Citrus.
At least have orange flavored Alani's available. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to my last pick in the third round here. We've got a name that I think is one of the best actual birth names in this entire draft class. I never thought I'd see this as a first name for a human being. I thought it was just a book of the Bible. But we've got Ephesians Prysock. He is a cornerback with extreme length and athleticism. He's 6'3", 196 pounds, 33 1/8 inch long arms. So he's got that pterodactyl frame that we love to talk about, like Joey Porter Jr. has. And then he ran a 4.45, 39-inch vertical. He's just that coverage dude that could be the person that you attempt to develop as the bookend behind Jamel Dean. Obviously, Jamel Dean, 29 years old already. We know he's not going to play for forever. We expect Pittsburgh to extend Joey Porter Jr. This is a guy in the third round that I think you could let him play a little bit here and there his first year or two in the league. By year 3, he's probably ready to go. And let's see him out there on the field opposite of Joey Porter. And pick your poison. But now we got two guys with extreme length, very good speed, not elite speed, but very good speed. And I would love to see a guy like this getting developed behind our starting corners.
Yeah, I mean, good ball handling. He can catch the ball, which is a lovely thing to see out of defensive guys. A lot of the times it's been talked about how defensive players can't catch. That's why they're playing defense. But this is a guy that looks like he's strong. He's willing to make plays. The big thing for me is just based on what I've seen from knowing you were going to draft him is he plays the player up into a certain point, and then he looks to see what the quarterback's doing. He kind of plays both. And really, really good corners are able to do that. So that's exciting to see him able to kind of make that adjustment as he's in the middle of a play.
I was going to say, like, I feel like he's looking for like route development and what's happening on the field. And then he adjusts as he sees it happening, which is insane football IQ.
Keeps his head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And one of the pre-draft visits, I believe, that we covered just a few minutes ago. So definitely a guy that Pittsburgh has at least taken interest in. And again, one of those guys that I mentioned has some of that elite closing speed as well. Was one of the higher performers in the 40-yard dash, I believe, at the combine as well.
4.45
for all corner prospects. So he was up there. But yeah, definitely a guy that you would love to see brought in, especially if they don't address corner earlier in the draft.
Very fair. Now, by now, some of you are probably thinking, James, what the hell are you doing? Do you have any idea how to draft? You haven't addressed the wide receiver position yet, and we have a glaring hole at the number 3 wide receiver position. Well, I've got a solution for you guys on that. I picked number 121, which is our 4th round selection here. I have chosen Deion Burks, a wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Not the biggest dude in the world. He's almost 5'10" at 5'9" and 6'8", only 180 pounds, but I'm telling you why I'm not concerned about that. We've got extreme speed with a 4.30 40-yard dash. 26 reps on the bench from this little dude.
Let's go.
So we have like defensive line level upper body strength from a 180-pound man, which tells me that he has been working exceedingly hard in the gym for a very long time to get to that kind of strength. Let's talk about his vertical jumps, right? What's his short area quickness? What's his explosive? 42.5-inch vertical and a 10-foot 11-inch broad. Are you kidding me? This is the short area quickness, the speed, the ability to get in and out of the routes. If he's not precise on his route running now, I don't care. Coach that into him because he has the physical attributes necessary to do so. And that's one of the things that you should be looking for. I imagine, I didn't dive into it, I imagine a guy with this kind of speed and strength and lower body explosion is probably a really good return man too. I didn't necessarily draft him for that attribute, but I feel like you could probably get him on the field right away in the return game if you needed to. But I would be ecstatic about a guy like this with this kind of explosiveness. And it's just bigger than what we've been trying to march out there. Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, a guy that's almost 5'10", 180 pounds is drastically bigger than what Calvin Austin was. And I would trust him to be able to actually get his block in the run game. So this is my addition. And just a heads up to all y'all, I'm probably going to have to power through the last of these pretty quickly because I'm now down to 2%.
Okay. So he had 14 returns in college, all in 2022 for 278 yards, an average of 37. Oklahoma did not have him returning kicks. So
early in his career when he didn't have a role on offense, yes, but later on, not so much.
Yeah.
So that's my first wide receiver selection. Next round, I took an offensive tackle by the name of Markel Bell. That will sound familiar to many of you. The prospect out of Miami. He was also on that list, I believe, as a pre-draft visitor, or we went to see him, or we visited him at the combine. I know it was one of those. 6'9", 346 pounds with 36 3/8-inch long arms. This is a very moldable guy who could back you up at left side or right side. I think he's going to need a little bit of work. I don't think he's ready to go right out of the gate. He had a real nasty rep in one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl, I believe it was, where he lost pretty badly. Outside of that, he did very well in his reps. So I think he's going to have to work a little bit on the footwork, I think he's going to have to work on his anchor because being so tall, guys are going to get underneath your pads. That does make it difficult. But I think that he's a guy that could really help you as depth piece and maybe develop into a starting tackle on either side of the ball. Anybody want to talk on Markel Bell before I move to the next one?
Great choice.
Fair enough. Sorry to put you guys in this position here. Next one at 161, I've got Sam Roush, the tight end. Sam is also a guy that we did a one-on-one visit at the Combine, the only tight end that we met with there. His arms aren't what I would like them to be. I'm going to be honest with you. They're built, but they're not long. He's 6'6", 267, 30 and 5/8 inch long arms, which is too short for me in most situations. His tape is one of possibly the best blocking tight end in this draft class. But he's also good catching the football. He has good hands. As you're seeing, if you're watching on YouTube, he fights for every single inch after catching the ball, which is something that's extremely important to me out of the tight end room. We have that with Freiermuth. We have that with Darnell Washington. Give me this cat out of Stanford who's got the prototypical size. A 4.70 40 is requisite. It's good. It's not blazing fast. It's not slow. He's got good speed. So I think he can still make some things happen for you as a receiver with good speed, but power that doesn't usually come straight out of college. So I like what he is as far as a developed person athletically going into this already. You're not going to have to wait for a couple of years for to be able to place him on the end of the line of scrimmage and ask him to block a defensive end. He'll probably be able to do it right out of the gate. I do worry a little bit about that length, though, and whether or not that's going to be an issue for him going against longer edge defenders. But he did a really good job of it in college, so I'd love to give him a chance in the pros.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all their highlights is all his catches, which he's still a phenomenal catcher, which is hilarious. But another guy, another blocking tight end, with the ability to catch, I honestly is a huge thing. We talked about that even with Dan, the guy that Jill drafted. So having a guy that can do both is very, very big, and so I'm on board with this guy.
Well, and I like that he runs through his initial contact. Like, gets contacted but still runs. So
getting into the 7th round now, pick 216, Cole Wisniewski, safety that we saw in the East-West Shrine game, had 2 pass breakups in the end zone early on in this game. He's 6'3", 215, was not a combine invite, so I don't have a 40-yard dash time or any jumps or anything. I tried to see if he had a pro day yet. It didn't look like there were any results on a pro day from him yet, but the tape is very good. They were saying they thought at the East-West Shrine that maybe he wasn't as good in coverage as he is as a run defender, and they went out and broke a couple touchdowns up in the end zone and made me think, well, maybe he just didn't have as good a tape on him. I don't know. So worst case scenario, he's an awesome run defender with fantastic size, but we saw him step up when the level of play stepped up and he was going against better quality talent there. So I like the possibility. I like the size. He seemed like he had some pretty good athleticism. I would expect it to be a 40-yard dash, at least in the 4.5s. I don't think he's going to be a 4.4 guy, but I don't look at him and think he's a slow dude either. So I'd love to have a guy like this as a training piece, maybe use him as the personal protector for the punter week 1. But I think you're upgrading now the back end of that safety room and having somebody as a developmental piece to try to pair with Dylan Thieneman long term.
Yeah, I love the pick. I love the physicality. He's not afraid to come up and play the run. And again, I mean, it's the same thing you talked about Thieneman. He plays the ball behind the line of scrimmage even. He's not afraid to come up and make a play. And I love his ability to read the play first. Even they're making, read, run, and then it's a quick pass. He jumps up, deflects it. Love the pick.
Nick, I don't want to shut you out. You haven't had much to say on the last couple. You got anything you want to add?
Nope, no notes. Just trying to keep a respect on the time, and not as familiar with some of the later round guys. I was aware of Wisniewski, but didn't really get to watch much tape, so not as familiar.
Fair enough. Next guy I think we're all familiar with at pick 224. I took a guy that has already been mocked twice on this series. I'm going to be boring. Caden Wetchin out of Iowa, the number 1 return man, in my opinion, coming out of college ball with 6 returns, punt and kick combined for touchdowns at Iowa. An absolutely explosive little dude. 5'9", 193 pounds, around a 4.47 40, so very good speed. I would love to see him returning kicks for Pittsburgh. And I just think an explosive guy like that is a game changer, a field flipper, a guy that can help you win a game when your offense is struggling by helping put you in a good position offensively. So I would be ecstatic with a guy like Caden Weechin, and I don't think he's going to be available this late, but the mock draft allows you to take him this late. So I'm going
to I hope we get him. I really do. Dude's an animal.
He feels like the free space on here, you know. But I'm sure there's plenty of other fan bases that feel the same way about him. I'm sure we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
The next selection for me, I've got two left here. Pick number 230. I took linebacker Bryce Betcher, also out of Oregon. When we were watching some of the Dylan Thieneman tape, you probably saw Bryce running around making a lot of tackles. They had quite the duo going on there in Oregon, made all kinds of plays. He was one of the very few people in the history of the East-West Shrine Bowl where a teammate tried to fight him in practice. Why? Because he accidentally hit somebody so hard in practice that he knocked him off his feet. And the guy was not happy about it because it was not supposed to be full contact, and he tried to fight him. This is the kind of intensity that Bryce has. He's a ball magnet. I think that worst case scenario, day one, you have a guy that'll probably get you 20 tackles on special teams, which we do need to replace some of that now, losing Connor Hayward, losing Miles Killebrew. We do need some special teamers that are going to step up and make some of these tackles that those guys have been making for us over the years. At 6'1", 233, he's not a tiny middle linebacker. He's right around the middle expected size of a middle linebacker these days. But I feel like you could do a lot worse than him. I would love him as a backup middle linebacker and a guy that if he did get forced into action, you could feel confident that he's not going to look like the stage is too big for him. He's always going to know where to go to get to the ball.
He plays Wildcat too, apparently, so that's good to know.
Why not, right?
Maybe this is our new tush push guy. Maybe.
I'd be totally cool with that. Put a linebacker in there. If the guy can handle the snap, that's the most important thing. My final selection, and if you've been watching us for the last couple of months, and we're making it just under the bell, I'm down to 1% here. So hopefully I get this in, but I should be able to. Mark Granoski, though, quarterback out of Iowa. It's just why I was laughing earlier when Cody's first picture of Dominic Orange was him sacking an Iowa quarterback. It was a different Iowa quarterback, but my final selection is an Iowa quarterback. If you saw the East-West Shrine Bowl recap episode, you talked about I was glowing about this guy. I thought he was the best quarterback in the entire game. A very athletic cat. He's like 6'2", 233, well-built individual, a little better than what they're showing in this picture. That must have been a younger image of him. But he's athletic. He's strong in the pocket. When somebody tries to tackle him, he doesn't go to the ground. He's good at moving within the pocket and keeping his eyes downfield. He was up and down in college. I'm not going to lie about it. But his performance at the Shrine Bowl was good enough for me to say this is somebody I'd love to take a shot on. Very athletic, a good arm. He needs some coaching. He's a guy that needs some good coaching, and we've got that. So I would love a guy that's got a good arm, that has the ability to shake off tacklers in the pocket, knows how to move inside the pocket, has a decent amount of athleticism to him. It's all the basic stuff. Would I like him a little taller than 6'2", short, but at least he's not a short dude like Dylan Gabriel or something like that. I super short quarterbacks. I'm over it after the Russell Westbrook or the Russell Wilson experience.
Yeah.
So give me a guy that's at least in that 6'2", 6'3" range, and I'm happy. He's my final selection. Tear me apart if you need to. If my battery dies before the end of the show, you guys can close it out for me.
No, I mean, lump of clay. Lump of clay.
With a quarterback class of this draft, like, you know, I feel like we don't want to be wasting draft picks in the first 3 rounds. And so no matter who you're going to get in these later rounds, I feel like whoever looks like the lump of clay that you can mold into your future starter or whatever quality backup that we can get, which is probably all these quarterbacks will be. So go for somebody that you think is moldable, that will be coached up. And so he looks like he has the strength, His throwing's pretty accurate. I mean, but these are all still things that you can coach. You can't coach size, you know? So getting that size that you were saying, James, but then being able to coach, you know, things like accuracy, things like what we're doing in the pocket and whatnot. So I think it's fine.
He shows this. He shows the strength. We've got the staff. It's a late round pick. You know, why not take a shot at a guy that you think could be molded into something more than he has been? And if you see the flashes, why not take a shot at a guy like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for it. He would be an older guy coming out. I can't remember the exact age that he is right now. But playing for a smaller school for a little while and then coming into Iowa. Excited to see what he could potentially do coming in and getting coached up.
Yeah, so we're going to be next week will be round 2 of mock drafts. We haven't decided yet who's going to go. So it's a surprise for you guys. You're going to have to tune in next week and see which one of us goes. But that continues. We've got 4 weeks left before the NFL draft. So 4 more episodes here to get in and get 2 versions of our mock drafts. If you've got a mock draft, throw it in the comments. We want to see it, especially on YouTube. Appreciate the large amount of viewership we've been having the last 3-4 weeks here. So you guys are awesome, and we truly appreciate you.
We loved the comments under the last video too. So if you've got thoughts on anything James said or anything we said or who we mocked and anything along those lines, anything Steelers, AFC North football related, drop it in the comments. We'll be happy to chat it out with you. But we cannot thank you enough for listening to us here at Alani. Please sponsor us by the lake. If you could, please give us a like and a follow on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It does not cost you a thing. Don't forget those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Make James and the rest of us very happy. And until next time, these are your hosts, James, Jill, Cody, and Nick, signing off.
Peace.